So we've got the full breakdown from Baku as Mercedes get frank with what went on in the cockpit of Lewis Hamilton's car at the restart of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And there's a reshuffle off the track as Williams reorganise the higher-ups on the pit wall. I'm Ollie Wilson and this is GPFans, and unlike Lewis Hamilton, you should be hitting our magic button that subscribes you to all of our content. It's only a joke, Lewis, calm down. Now, that's done with, let's dive into the news in Formula 1 this Thursday. So Mercedes has explained exactly why Lewis Hamilton slid helplessly into the Turn 1 runoff when the Azerbaijan Grand Prix resumed for a final two-lap sprint last weekend. Just as he had at the start of the race, Hamilton lined up second on the grid, but sensing his moment, the seven-time world champion lunged to the inside of Sergio Perez, locked his brakes and dropped to the back of the field. In a team debrief video, technology director Mike Elliott explained what had caused Hamilton to make the uncharacteristic mistake. One of the buttons we've got, it's called Brake Magic. To be honest, I don't know why we call it Brake Magic. It's a button that the drivers can press and allows them to get heat into the brakes, he said. One of the big things it does is it moves the brake balance, so the proportion of the front brake energy to the rear brake energy was all the way as far forward as we can get it, and that allows us to put heat into the front brakes and therefore heat into the rims and into the tyres. So Lewis had done all the right things. He got the car to the grid, he switched off the various buttons and settings he needed to switch off, switched on the ones he needed to switch on. It was all set to start the race properly. He made a fantastic start. He got himself up alongside Perez, and as he and Perez were sort of shuffling position, Lewis swerved, and in the process of swerving, he just clipped the magic button, and unfortunately, he didn't feel he had done it. So he had completely no awareness he was going to have a problem. The point he then braked, which was the normal point for him to brake, he was in the position where he got all of the brake balance shifted forward, which put all of the load through the front tyres, and as a consequence, they locked, and from that point, there was nothing he could do than go wide. One of the main factors behind Hamilton's continued success is his ability to minimise errors, something highlighted by his record-breaking 54 race points streak that began at the 2018 British Grand Prix. Elliott added, "I know speaking to Lewis that Lewis sort of feels a chunk of blame for that. But the reality is, Lewis makes so few mistakes, and that's what really sets him apart from some of the other drivers. It is our duty to try and give him a car where it's more difficult for him to make mistakes. We need to take our share of that, look at how we can improve that, and that's something we will put in place for the next race." Far and away down the other end of the Formula 1 paddock, and Williams have confirmed that Simon Roberts is to leave the team, with CEO Jost Capito taking on his responsibilities as team principal. Roberts joined Williams in June 2020 and was a key figure in the team's transition from the ownership of the Williams family to Doralton Capital. "It has been a pleasure to take on the role of team principal following the departure of the Williams family from the sport," said Roberts. "However, with the transition well underway, I am looking forward to a new challenge and wish everyone in the team well for the future." Williams explained the change is the result of an internal restructure that is part of the longer-term objective to return Williams to the front of the grid. A spokesperson for the team confirmed to GPFans Global that Williams will no longer operate with a titled team principal. After this reshuffle, Francois Xavier, or FX de Maison, who joined Williams from Volkswagen in March, will be responsible for both the trackside and engineering efforts as technical director. Adding the team principal duties to those held in his position as CEO, Capito was quick to praise the work of Roberts over the last year or so. He said, "Simon has played an integral role in managing the transition over the last 12 months, and I would like to thank him for his great contribution during that time." So Mercedes have given us their full explanation into what happened with Lewis Hamilton in Azerbaijan, but will they bounce back quickly after Baku put the brakes on their Constructors' title challenge? And does the reshuffle change the fortunes of Williams at all? A team that I'm sure many of us want to see far further up the grid, even if we are just yearning for a bit of nostalgia. Let us know in the comments section below and hit subscribe to stick with us all season long at GPFans.